For the past 11 years, the Stuttering Foundation's best-selling video, For Kids by Kids, has educated professionals, parents, and students around the world about stuttering, as told by children who stutter themselves. Recently, we reunited with 4 of those children, and now they are all grown up. We were curious. How did stuttering affect these children? What helped? What challenges did they face? Is talking easier for them now? Have their feelings about stuttering changed? Who are these children and where are they now? Remember Daniel?
Stuttering is when you can't talk very well.
Today, he is in college studying computer science at the University of Illinois.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I was 7 in the Stuttering For Kids by Kids video, and now I'm 18.
Naomi was a young teen when we first met her.
One day it'll happen a lot, the next day it won't happen at all.
And now, she is a speech-language pathologist working towards her PhD.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I was 14 years old when I was in the For Kids by Kids video, and now I'm 25.
Remember Tommy?
I think kids teach other kids about stuttering because those kids are different than them.
Today, he is attending college to become a special education teacher.
Hi, I'm Tommy. I was 6 when I was in the For Kids by Kids video, and now I'm 19.
Umang was a junior in high school when we first met him.
I get worried, what other people might think if I do stutter, and if I'll be able to get out of my blocks and stuff like that.
Now he is an attorney.
Hi, my name is Umang. I was 17 when I did the first For Kids by Kids video. Now I'm 28 and all grown up.
Recently, we sat down with each of them and talked about their stories. While each journey was unique, 3 common threads emerged as they spoke to us. The first thread highlighted the importance of accepting help from others.
When I was coming to speech therapy when I was 13 or 14, it was incredibly helpful. It was invaluable. It was different than what I anticipated. I think when I began, my expectations and my parents' expectations were that I was going to learn these speech tools that would make talking easier and that I would be stutter-free.
Therapy helped me leagues beyond what I thought it was going to help me when I was younger. It's definitely made the pavement of my fluency that I use every day now.
I think speech therapy was different for me in every phase of my life. So in grammar school, it was very helpful to go to speech therapy and learn some of these tools to know how to deal with a stutter or a block when I was in that moment. In high school, speech therapy started to mix my tools along with my mindset around stuttering.
I think it was huge that my parents were involved in my speech therapy because their understanding of my stuttering made it easier at home when I was stuttering. Their knowledge of my speech tools and their knowledge of what practices I did and what practices I did at home made the world of a difference when it came to just casual conversation, or if I was practicing my speech at home, that they would be so understanding and really know how to help me instead of just doing what they're told to do.
When I began therapy at the age of 13, I did not want my parents to be part of it. It was this personal thing that I had tried to hide for my entire childhood, and especially when you're entering high school, the last thing you want to do is to be close with your parents about this really personal topic that you don't want to talk about. I remember coming to therapy, and I would have my 45-minute session with my speech therapist, and then my mom or my dad would go into the room after me, and they would kind of have their own session. It was a very thoughtful way of helping both me and my parents in a manner that was appropriate because I was not ready to go through therapy with them.
So my parents were always putting me in situations where I felt very normal. I felt like I belonged. And there was never any big deal at home about the fact that I stuttered or that I was a little bit different in the way I communicated. Going to law school, I got a lot of negative feedback from a lot of adults saying that this was not something they would recommend, but my parents always were the opposite, and they found ways to provide support, to push me to do what I wanted, rather than pushing me towards what was easy.
My parents took me to speech therapy, which of course was a big help. And periodically they asked me questions like how I feel about it. And they encouraged me, saying that it was getting better. And without that, I probably wouldn't have gotten discouraged.
Whether it was grade school, high school, college, or beyond, I tended to find somebody or gravitate towards somebody that I think really helped me to develop as a person and who was accepting of my stutter.
So I felt kind of beaten down a lot, and so I learned to go up to my teachers and kind of just ask for some support. And then when I was a junior in high school, I had a wonderful English teacher that we used to do a lot of oral reading going around the classroom, and that was one of the most anxiety I've ever felt is that oral reading scenario. And so he took it upon himself to invite me to his office after class, and I would go and I would read out of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass with him. And I would just read a lot to him, and I would stutter, but it would be okay because I knew that he was there to kind of support me, and I kind of built a little confidence slowly. That was a really important experience that I had with him.
Accepting help from professionals, parents, caregivers, and others was essential at different times and in different ways. Positive relationships with adults in each of their lives made a difference. The second thread that emerged involved their changing attitudes over time.
I think there are really two parts to working on your speech. I think it's your attitude surrounding the speech, and then there's the actual speech.
When I started therapy it was high school, at the start of high school, it was a lot of kind of unpacking that emotional stuff that was really deep-rooted, and so I really got to start to understand my stuttering from kind of the inside out. And so even if my speech wasn't more fluent at the end of it, my mind was a lot clearer. I felt like I just had, I'd gained a tremendous amount of confidence as a speaker and just as a young woman.
I think speech therapy helped me a lot, and the tools helped that I learned. But the biggest thing was just to know that there are more people out there who are like me, and this isn't really a solo sport.
Oh, high school was a challenging time. I think that it's challenging for any young person, whether or not they stutter or not. I did a lot of hiding, but there was these little triumphs that I had throughout the way. I started, as I started therapy, I really learned the value of just being open with people about it and expressing my concerns and expressing my fears with especially my teachers. If you're just open with people and you're okay to be vulnerable with them, then they kind of just smile and appreciate the fact that you were open with them.
It was like in high school sometime, I realized that people would accept me if I stutter or not, so I don't need to try and hide that. So that was a big turning point in my life, just kind of letting it go.
Like looking back where I was when I was in high school and where I am now, I'm able to experience the anxiety that naturally comes up when I'm about to engage in a speaking situation. I'm aware of kind of how my body is reacting, and I've learned to give myself some extra time to, kind of organize my thoughts, pay attention to my body. Inevitably, yes, I do stutter still, and still it comes up, but I think that my response afterwards has completely made a 180-degree switch.
When I moved to China when I was in 5th grade, my stuttering was still not very well controlled. Moving to China changed me entirely. It made me realize what was out there in the world, and bringing back to what I said earlier, it really brought me to realize that stuttering is not that big of a deal. That there's so much stuff going on in the world, and there's so many kids that are poor or not eating dinner at night, and my biggest worry when I fell asleep was not being able to finish the words that were coming out of my mouth. And I realized that it was okay, and that if that's what I have, then I'm pretty lucky, and I could have been dealt a much worse plate than I have right now.
Being a lawyer and a person that stutters has been a very life-changing experience for me. When I'm in the courtroom, one of the things I've learned, and which I try to take advantage of, is my ability to hold the courtroom or hold my audience. I have almost a sense of power or confidence.
Growing up with stuttering has given me the empathy of dealing with something that's out of your control. I know when I work with special ed kids that they can't control what they're doing, and it's out of their control, and my not being fluent may not be as severe as what they have, but on a minuscule scale I can empathize what they're going through.
I'm at a point with my speech where I'm able to kind of look at it as a gift, that this allows me to really connect with people on a level that I wasn't ready to for most of my life. My stuttering it's what got me here today. I wouldn't be helping people the way that I am today if it wasn't for, the challenges that I've had and continue to have, and it took a lot of work to get here.
Note how they continue to explore and develop healthy attitudes about their stuttering and themselves as communicators. In addition to accepting help from others and changing attitudes over time, being proactive was the third commonality.
Yesterday, I got up and gave a speech at my soon-to-be sister-in-law's bridal shower, and it was the first time I've ever gotten up and given a speech in front of 50 people before. I believe that if this had happened, 15 years ago, I would have just sat back and I would not have gotten up there. So I took a big chug of water and I got up there and I grabbed the microphone and I just did it. And I was scared, but I did it anyways. It was a really big triumph for me.
Making the first video was a big deal for me when I was little, because I got to go and share my story with all of these kids all across the world that were going to see it. I showed my class the video I was in when I was a kid, and it was the first time that the kids my age, some kids at least, saw what stuttering was about, instead of just like, okay, Tommy stutters. Now they saw testimonies and other kids that are like me that are dealing with the same thing, and it meant the world.
Whether it is saying hello to somebody in the college cafeteria or going for a job interview where I really want the job, there was always a little bit of risk involved, but also a lot of excitement involved, because I think the bigger the risk, that I was taking, I was always seeing the potential reward that was there.
I love to talk. I've always loved to talk. I've never stopped talking. My parents never did anything for me like ordering for me. They always made me do everything by myself, and that is, you can't hide behind your parents forever. You will always need, at some point in your life, you'll always need to order your own food. You'll always need to talk to someone. I never let my stuttering stop me, even today.
I was a member of a math team, and there we explained to each other how to solve problems. And sometimes I remember I got up to the board and I didn't really know what to say, or I didn't plan my thoughts, and it was kind of a stuttering time. But it for the most part, it was a huge help to be able to show and demonstrate math problems and feel like I was accepted in that group.
The first 2 years I was really sports involved. I did football and soccer, and then the end of my sophomore year is when I started to do theater and drama, and I took my first drama class. And I took it, and I was really kind of edgy when I got there. I didn't know how it was going to be, and I got on stage and just kind of felt alive, and everything was so fluid and worked so well when I was on stage. Like it didn't even faze me. And
after high school, I went to college. I majored in finance and accounting, and I did my CPA. And then I went to law school. My first semester in college was fairly challenging, based a lot around my speech and new faces, new interactions. It was my first time being in the, quote, real world on my own and seeing myself facing potential failure because of my speech. Being in that situation forced me to kind of step out of my comfort zone.
When I moved to college, my fluency actually became a lot more choppy, and I noticed that. It was a huge culture change to me. I went from living in the suburbs with my parents in nice suburbia to off in a country town with some kid I don't know, and for the first month and a half of my college experience I stuttered a lot. And it was difficult because even though I've grown out of my self-consciousness about it, I was still aware. I definitely felt the friction of what my stuttering did when I moved away for the first month, but after a month I was back to being how I am on a daily basis.
New speaking situations, talking with unfamiliar people, or even ordering food in restaurants are often challenging for someone who stutters. As you have just heard, these individuals understood the importance of being proactive and embracing challenges, regardless of the fear that might be associated with them. While growing up with stuttering may not be easy, as you have just seen through their determination, Daniel, Tommy, Naomi, and Umang set themselves up for success. Their stories provide us all with hope.
I think that, yes, stuttering is something that needs to be dealt with, but it's not something that is anything that should stop you from pursuing what you need to do.
Towards the end of high school, I decided that I wanted to become a speech language pathologist. I think I shocked myself and I shocked everyone else in my life. I never imagined that I would be in a field where my job would involve me helping other people to talk and to speak and to communicate.
You can do great things, even though you do have a stutter.
Over 3 million Americans stutter, and more than half of these are children. If you, your child, or someone you care about stutters, let us help you. For over 50 years, the nonprofit Stuttering Foundation has been helping those who stutter. For more information and resources on stuttering, call the Stuttering Foundation toll-free at 1-800-992-9392. That's 1-800-992-9392. Or visit our website at www.stutteringhelp.org.